Hello, welcome to Real Self-Care. I am so excited to be finally launching this as an online course. This program is something that I've been working on in stages for quite a while, and my ultimate goal has been to get it online, like I'm finally doing, so that you have several different options for taking it and for gaining the material. So before we get started on the first module, which is assessing self-care, I would like to give you just a little bit of background about me and why I created this program. For those of you who don't know me personally, I am Jamie Stacks, and I am a licensed professional counselor and a licensed alcohol and drug abuse counselor in the state of Arkansas. I also do supervision for new licensed associate counselors coming into the field. I do technology-assisted supervision and therapy, which means the online stuff or phone services, so that I can reach people where they are and where they need help if they can't always get to me, to my location. So, self-care. Different people will tell you different things about it. And I am not here to say that there is a right or a wrong answer or a right or a wrong way to do self-care. What I am here to say is that I was not doing it correctly. And I can speak for me. I was not doing self-care at all, really. I was living my life for everybody else. I was doing what I felt like other people expected me to do, whether that was accurate or not. And I got really, really tired and burned out and resentful of people who were asking me to do things, or I was volunteering to do them, and they were letting me, to the point that I was exhausted. So it finally occurred to me that this is my issue. This is not other people's issue. My self-care is my concern, my responsibility. Your self-care is your responsibility. But I want to help you with it. So as I started to look at the aspects of my life that were missing, or that were not going the way that I wanted them to, or were creating problems, resentment, just bad feelings for me, I started looking at how to make some changes. And in doing this, I created this program that I call Real Self-Care, Radiant, Essential, Amazing, Life-Changing Self-Care. It actually came to me in a meditation. Actually, the term radical self-care came to me in a meditation, and I thought on that quite a bit, but I settled on real self-care because I think that really accurately describes my program and what it is. So we are starting out in Module 1, which is assessing your self-care, seeing where you are right now, okay? So this is no judgment. This is not a test that you flunk, that you can go, wow, you know, I'm not doing any of this. I really suck at self-care. It's not a right or a wrong. It's just to look at where you are. So I want to go over the quiz a little bit today. You've probably already taken it, or you might be taking it right now, or you will take it. But this is a living, breathing document that I really want you to use now to assess where you are, but I also want you to come back to it on a regular basis to see, what am I doing? What have I changed that needed to be changed? Am I still doing the things that I was doing that I still need to be doing? And kind of use it as a tool to guide you, to help you assess on an ongoing basis where you are with your self-care. So I'm not going to read it directly word for word, but I do want to kind of glance over it here and go over some of the reasons that I put some of these questions in here. And I did create this self-care quiz myself and came up with a scaling system for it too. So anyway, let's talk about it a little bit. The first one, do you have a morning routine that is nourishing and allows you to start your day with some time for yourself? This is vital for me. I'm busy. I work several different things that I do. I have a child who is active and busy. I try to have a life myself. I am doing a yoga teacher training. I have a lot going on. I don't get much time to myself. So that morning time that I have alone is vital to me. So I might sometimes get up at 4 in the morning or 4:30 in the morning, which people say, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But you know what? It's not for me when it's the only time in my day that is quiet, that is peaceful, that I can meditate. Maybe I can do some yoga. Maybe I can do a little bit of work that I enjoy. Maybe I can read or pray or any number of things that I want to do. But that to me is the key time to finding stuff for myself, time for myself. Let's see, I want to talk a little bit about the values, which is a whole module in itself. And so we'll go over this in a great more detail. But, do you know what your values are? Do you know which values and characteristics you find to be most important? And if you do you actively think about those when you're making decisions? So when you have a job offer, do you think, okay, my number one priority is simplicity, but this job is going to create me traveling 3 days a week. So maybe that doesn't really work well with my goal of simplicity or my value of simplicity. So maybe it's not the right thing for me. But there's a whole exercise, like I said, a whole module on values. But I just wanted to touch on them today in the introduction because I think that's one of the key points of this program. That if you can identify and then stay true to your values and your characteristics, then your self-care is going to be so much better. So much better. Do you have time alone every day? Do you eat healthy, non-processed foods and exercise most days of the week? These are things that keep us physically healthy and mentally healthy. I do try to eat well. Not perfect. Nobody is. I had foot surgery about 9 months ago now, and it's really affected my exercise routine. And although I knew it before, I knew how important my exercise routine was to me, man, that really made it hit home. When I couldn't run, when I couldn't do really anything physical for a period of months, and therefore I gained weight, and I felt sluggish, and I felt tired, and I really realized how much exercising and eating good is vital to my self-care. So that's, something that we'll look at also. Do you have hobbies that you're passionate about? Do you have things, when people say to you, hey, tell me about yourself, what do you tell them? Do you tell them what you do? Do you tell them what your occupation is? Do you tell them your roles in life? Do you say, I'm a mother, I'm a father, I'm a teacher? Or do you say, hey, I love to write books and go skydiving, and name things that you like to do? We all need hobbies. We all need things that we love and feel passionate about that don't have anything to do with work and don't have anything to do with our kids or anyone else. Something that we do just for ourselves. And so we'll talk about that more as well. Oh, I love number 10 because so many people don't do it. Do you stop and go to the bathroom when you need to? Okay, I'm guilty, and that's why I put this one in here. I drink a lot of water, and for years, and it still happens sometimes, but for years, at any given moment, I could have probably gone to the bathroom because I drink so much water and I was so busy and I never stopped to go to the bathroom. You know, I would get up in the morning and I would let my dogs out and I would feed my dogs and I would change their water and I would do this and I would do that all before I went to the bathroom. And you know what? That's not good self-care. It may sound trivial, but it is really bad for your bladder. It's really bad for your body. And it's a distinct statement, I think, to yourself that you say, you're not important enough to stop and go pee right now, so we'll do that later. But you know what? You are, and that's vital to your health. And so that one, a lot of people who teach are like, yes, I totally get that one. So that's sort of a funny one, but it's really, it's kind of a sign of how we treat ourselves. Do you say no when you don't want to do something? I really should probably change that up a little bit and make it so that it reads, do you say no without making excuses? When people ask us to do things, sometimes we really don't want to do it. Either we don't want to, or it's something that normally we might enjoy, but we're just super busy, so we don't want to right now. There's any number of reasons that we might want or need to say no to requests. Sometimes it feels good to be asked, right? It's an honor. Hi, will you lead this group at church? Will you do this because you're really great at organizing? And so it's a compliment and it feels really good. And so we want to say yes because we want to do nice things and it feels good. But oftentimes we say yes when we should say no. And then we do several things, but we don't do a great job at what we committed to, and we take away from our self-value. And one part of this that I want to talk about, we'll get into later in the modules, but saying no without having to justify it. So, instead of saying, oh gosh, I'd love to do that, but my daughter has cheerleading that day, which that might be true. But, you can say, no, thank you, I can't do that. Or, that's really not going to work with my schedule right now. And you know what? That's all you have to say. You do not have to give an explanation. Some people will ask you for one, and at that point you can choose to give one, or you can simply say, it's just not working for me right now. But that's your choice. And a huge part of self-care is saying no when you need to say no. Let's see. Do you have a slow down routine at night? A sacred space. We'll talk more about creating a sacred space. Do you jump in your car, run home, and immediately start cleaning and cooking dinner and doing homework? And then, as soon as you get the homework done, you get the kids or the kid in the bathtub and get them in bed, and then you go and you clean up the dinner dishes, and then you balance the checkbook, and then you collapse in bed. Where in there is that transition for you? And that's what so many of us don't have, that we need to build into our day. I say after work, that to me is a pretty good time to do it because my work takes a lot of mental effort. Some people's work takes more physical effort. Some people's takes both. But so I come home at the end of the day and I absolutely love what I do, but I might be really mentally exhausted. And so I need to lay down in my yoga room that I've created as a sacred space for me. And I need to do some yoga or some deep breathing or listen to some calming music, whatever it may be. But I need that before I can move on with the rest of my evening. Otherwise, I'm irritable. I am short-tempered and unpleasant to be around. I don't have a good evening, and neither do the people around me. When I know what I need to do, I know I just need that little bit of time to myself. And I think that everybody does that. So do you have some sort of routine, something that you do just for you? Do you have time in the evenings where you're not working and you're not cleaning, you're not doing something that you have to do, that you are watching TV with your kiddos or playing games or talking? Just some sort of wind down time to enjoy. I like this one, and I'm so guilty of this one. Do you have friends that really get you and have the same passions and values as you? And do you spend time with them? I get busy and I neglect my friendships. And that's an area that I've got to work harder on. And again, it's tempting even for me when I created this quiz to sort of beat myself up about that and say, look at that, I'm not even doing that. How dare I put that in my quiz? But you know what? I do sometimes do that, and when I do, I am much happier. I am much more well-rounded, and my self-care is better. And when my self-care is better, my care of other people, whether it's my child or my family or my work or my clients, is so much better. Do you have a nighttime routine that lets you know, lets your brain know, lets your body know, we are winding it up for the day? Okay, how many of us sit in bed or on the couch or wherever with our computer or our iPad or our phone or the TV or something else with bright lights and lots of movement going on, right up until the time we turn the light off and try to go to sleep? I'm guilty sometimes. I think we all are. But when we have a nighttime, and I have a whole sleep hygiene program that we'll talk about more as we get into the modules. But you need a nighttime routine that lets your brain know and lets your body know, hey, it's time to settle down. So, I suggest, and when I do this for myself, it's so much easier to go to sleep. And I get a much better night's sleep when I do this. Turn off your electronics. Turn off your phone. Turn off your computer or your iPad. Get in bed. Turn the lights down. Turn the ceiling lights off. Use lamplight. Read. Journal. Talk to your family. Draw. Do something creative. But when it starts to get dark, you signal to your brain that, hey, it's time to settle down. And your body starts producing melatonin, which is a chemical that helps you sleep, that's produced naturally in your body. And your body learns that, okay, when these lights go off and when these electronics and all this stimulation goes off, this is when we settle down. And so what you do is you train your body to get used to a regular routine. One of the questions I think is on here I might not have mentioned, do you have a normal time that you get up, a normal routine that you go to bed and get up at around the same time every day, even if it's the weekend? Because our bodies do really well with structure. Our bodies do really well when they know what to expect. And so if we go to bed at 10 o'clock every night or around 10 o'clock, and we get up at 6 o'clock every day, or whatever time we choose, our bodies get used to doing that. Unless I am just exhausted, or I haven't been sleeping well, or I have something very vital to do early in the morning, I hardly ever set an alarm because my body is used to waking up. And even if I do set an alarm, I nearly always wake up before my alarm goes off. And I wake up early. And if any of you know me, personally and knew me in high school, you would not believe it, but I'm actually much more of a morning person now. I hated mornings when I was a teenager, but I guess all teenagers do. I was really irritable. I just really did not think anything should start before noon, and I was pretty verbal about it. But anyway, now, as I mentioned at the beginning, that's my quiet time. My morning is my time for coffee or tea or meditating or whatever I need to do with it. And you know what? People don't really bug you at 4:30 or 5 in the morning. So it's a pretty good time to use as your alone time. But having that routine, is important. And my body's used to that routine now. And so typically I wake up even without the alarm. So that's just an overview of the self-care quiz, which you read and you took. But I just wanted to give a little bit more explanation right now as to why I put some of the things that I put in there. I urge you to take the quiz and please discuss, comment. I have some discussion prompts on the course, but I urge you to, to write your own, to respond to mine, to initiate conversation. Talk to your family about this program that you're doing. Get your family involved. Self-care is not selfish. Self-care is vital. I cannot take care of somebody else if I'm not taking care of myself. And it is so cliche, but so very true that oxygen mask on the plane, if you don't put it on yourself first, you will not save anyone else. And self-care is our oxygen mask. If we do not put that on, if we do not take care of ourselves, if we don't say, I'm a priority, I deserve this, I deserve time to myself, and then find a way to make it happen, understanding that the people in our lives might or might not agree with it or like it, but that's okay, because part of self-care is learning what you need, not what other people need, okay? Everyone should have a self-care routine, and I would love to work with anyone who wants to work on improving their self-care routine. But my advice to you, if you have people in your life who are not supportive of this process that you're going through, kind of get curious about that. And most of the time, and this is one of my favorite books ever, The 4 Agreements by Don Ruiz, I think. I might not be saying his name right. But one of the agreements is don't take things personally. Most of the time, the things that people do and say have nothing to do with us. It might feel very personal. Your husband or your wife or your daughter or your brother or your sister or whoever might say, gosh, you're doing all this stuff to take care of yourself and you're ignoring everybody else, and might, purposely try to make you feel guilty, might end up making you feel guilty, not necessarily on purpose, but just by their statements they're talking. But you have to learn what you have to do for you. And you have to understand that if they are criticizing what you're doing, that is coming from somewhere in them. And, I try not to push anything on anybody. There's some things that I don't think are okay, and I don't do them. And in the past, my tendency has been to try to control and make sure that other people don't do them either, at least not around me. But as I get older, the conclusion that I've come to is really this, that I can't make other people's decisions for them. It's not my place. It's not my right. I don't know what's best for somebody else. But I do know, and I can decide what's best for me. And so if people are doing things that do not serve my higher good, that are not in line with my values, while I might not be able to stop it, I can stop participating in it. And that's one thing that, I found really important in my self-care routine, is to recognize that if people criticize it, if people tell me I'm being selfish, then they have the right to that opinion. And I don't take it personally. It can be really tough to do sometimes, but I think the more that you do this, you get used to it. So anyway, I am so super excited that this program is finally online. My goal for the year 2015 was to make it the year of more. And with the year of more, I want to reach more people than I could ever possibly reach one-on-one in a private practice therapy setting, or working in an agency, or anywhere one-on-one. And so part of my decision to do trainings, to do consultations, to do online classes like this is so that I can share what I've learned with you all. And then I ask that you go and you share that with somebody else, and then ask them to go share it with somebody else. Then ask that person to share it with somebody else, so that we create this huge outpouring of knowledge that everyone has access to, right? And so that we're all living a healthier, a more balanced, a happier life. We are responsible for making our own selves happy. So often we put it off on other people. We say, well, if my husband did this, then I'd be happy. Or if my daughter would quit doing this, then it would all be okay. But you know what? We can't do that. Other people's behaviors and actions do affect us, but we are the ones responsible for either accepting it or removing ourselves from the situation that we are not okay with. And that's really hard and requires a lot of thought and a lot of self study and a lot of courage oftentimes. But we're going to talk about a whole bunch of that stuff in this program. Whether you are doing this independently on your own, whether you are doing this in a cohort group, or if you are doing this individually with me, I encourage you to really dig deep, do the exercises, implement these things in your life. Because if you don't, nothing will get better. And if you're here, if you have purchased a self-care program, then that tells me that you need help with your self-care. Or you wouldn't have done that, right? If you didn't need help, you wouldn't have been searching for it. You're here for a reason. I fully believe that everything in life happens for a reason. We don't always understand it, or even ever understand it, at least maybe not in this lifetime. But I do think everything happens for a reason. And so I think that if you're watching this, in whatever format you're taking it, then there's a reason for that. And that reason probably is that you need to pay more attention to yourself. You need to provide yourself with better self-care. So I hope that I can help you along that journey. Feel free to contact me, jamiestackstherapy@gmail.com, JAMIESTACKSTHERAPY@gmail.com. And my website is www.realselfcare.org. All lowercase, all together. Please don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions. I do individualized programs for individuals and for corporations, businesses. So if I could help you out with that, then give me a call, send me an email, let me know. In the meantime, good luck with your journey, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for being here. Thank you.